Welcome to No Crime, No Time. And today we're going to be talking about Mike Osman, who was Bobby Dassey's best friend. And as those that are just newer to the case, Bobby Dassey is the star witness for the prosecution in 2007 during the Stephen Avery trial. Now, Bobby Dassey is Stephen Avery's nephew, and Zellner, the defense, the post-conviction defense, Kathleen Zellner, handles Stephen Avery's case currently. And she has done a lot of tweets and information and filings and such that revolve around Bobby Dassey. And a lot of us internet sleuths also find Mike Osman interesting as well, because they're like two peas in a pod. Bobby Dassey, Mike O, they spend a lot of time together. They hunt almost every day together, goose hunting, with basically a .22 that in all technicality would match what was used according to the state to kill the victim in the Steve Avery case. So with that being said, I want to just head off real quick, something out of the blue here. So when we made the website free to all of the public and everything, those that had the repetitive membership monthly, so it would just withdraw the $2, I had disconnected what I thought would work. But one individual had sent me an email, and she explained that she had asked to not have it anymore, to unsubscribe, and it didn't let her. So I fixed that. I refunded her money. Then I went and I hand checked everyone to make sure that you guys basically don't get that $2 withdrawn, so that you get it free too. And so if you got knocked off as a member, which I think that's what it did, just rejoin under the, truther, free for all truthers. And sorry about the mishap there. So on with today's talk. So some of the reasons that draw me to suspicion about Mike O being with Bobby so much is also the only night that they did not hunt together on record or reported by both of them was October 31st, 2005, when Miss Halbach went missing. Now, before we dig too much deeper, let's explain where Mike O also fits in the Avery saga. So, Earl Avery is Steve's brother. And Earl Avery adopted his wife's daughter, from a previous marriage. Her name was Marie. And Marie grew up to actually have a relationship with Mike Osman. After they break up, sometime later, Marie becomes, I will just say politely, involved with Stephen. Now, she's adopted, not blood, doesn't justify it. My book, there was a whole investigation done. Stephen was not charged because of what allegedly is a letter that Stephen had that actually names Earl, her stepfather, as the one that was sexually assaulting her. And you can read some of this in the CASO report. You'd kind of have to dig in. But we do have the CASO report available on nocrimenoTime.org. Now, I have a thunderstorm coming, and it's not supposed to come till much later, but it's looking pretty dark out there. So we're going to speed this up. So if everything works right, I'm hoping it does, you'll be able to see as I go through it. So I went to the George Zipper blog to understand more about Mike O and Bobby. So we'll give it just a minute for the PowerPoint to respond. There we go. And on the George Zipper blog, it pointed out that there are several women missing that all seem to stem from a certain area or demographic. And I found it interesting because when you look at these names, Deidre Harm is one that the police actually have a sketch of who they feel may have committed the crime. Or I guess who they suspect may have information about the crime. I guess that's better. And there's all these beautiful ladies. And you, like I said, you can go right up here to the George Zipper blog. I put the little address below. And you can look up every single one of these girls. And they do a beautiful job of trying to help get information out there. On the map itself, you can see where they've shown on the George Zipper blog, this kind of like circles Wisconsin Rapids, Oshkosh, this area, if you look where these victims are from. Now, when you skip over and we look at Deidre Harm, that's who we're focusing on today, we have an unidentified suspect male. And it says this unidentified male was observed speaking with Deidre Harm at the Finish Line Bar in Wisconsin Rapids on June 10, 2006. Deidre Harm had been reported missing on June 11, 2006 after failing to return to her apartment in Wisconsin Rapids the previous night. Her remains were located in the town of Seneca, Wisconsin, on November 20th, 2006. The unidentified male might be able to provide information to this case. If anyone knows the identity of this male individual, please contact the law enforcement agency listed below. All right. So let's take a better look at this drawing. So I've had conversations with others, Ducky researchers in the past when we were groups and stuff on Discord, and we've talked about this picture. And some people were like, oh my gosh, that kind of looks like Bobby Dassey. And so we'll dig into that. But there was in that group, one of us, and I don't remember who, brought up what about Mike Osman, because we thought it might look like him too. So that's what we're going to do today. We'll do a comparison. So we're going to start off with a sketch in the middle, and then you see on my left would be Mike Osman, and on the right would be Bobby Dassey, or vice versa, depending on how you're looking at it. But we'll break it down, okay? So this is all Bobby Dassey. All three pictures are of Bobby. Now, what I've done is I've taken those pictures, and I've just simply made them black and white. I have not altered them in any way other than to make them larger or smaller in proportion. So I didn't change the length of the nose or anything. I left the pictures as they are. And I layered these drawings over them. And let's go ahead and walk through what it would be like if we transitioned the transparency, okay? So on this first one, let's start with the picture full blown. Now watch as I walk through. And we're really going to dig into this so you'll get better and better view of it. So now we're crossing over to the actual photograph. Do you notice how strong that John line is in this photo? It extends past what, with his mouth closed, it extends past. For me, the eyes are a little bit off. The eyebrows are a little bit wrong shaped. But, I mean, we can go full-blown picture and we can switch back and you can look. So we'll leave it at that one. Now let's go to this next picture right here. We'll come up here and we're going to do the same thing. We're just going to transition the drawing in transparency. So let's go to full picture format and grab this and we'll transition. Nice and slow. At least I'm trying to be slow about it. And again, the eyebrows are off for me a little bit. The eyes are shaped a little bit different. It's hard to tell because he's smiling here, but it's okay. It's an okay match. Let's go ahead and switch that one to half trans, about halfway trans. Okay. Now let's go down here to this bottom one. Now keep in mind he's smiling really big in this picture. Now in a lot of Bobby Dassey's pictures, he's smiling and he's got this cheesy little smile. So it was very hard to adjust his pictures. However, we've got one more, and we'll go ahead and do our best with it. Like I said, he's smiling. So here's the drawing, and we're going to transition down. See, the eyes are a little bit bigger for me. They slant down. The eyebrows arch a little higher. I don't know. I could be wrong. But the nose is even off in this one a little bit when he smiles. So it's hard to say he could... It just wasn't a complete match. Did it draw some questions for me? Yeah. For me, personally, I looked at it and I thought, there is a close resemblance. So then I ask you guys. I put half the picture on one face of each picture. And I'm showing you a comparison. In the middle, you have both. Does Bobby Dassey compare to this photograph? This drawing. Not photograph, but drawing. Now I'm going to come up to top side. We're going to talk about that for a moment. Hey, guys. All right, we've got Sherry Lynn, who followed me through technical difficulty from live to live. Thank you, Sherry. Awesome. I appreciate it. Patricia Broke says, love your show, Ducky. Thank you, Patricia. Adopted niece. Yes, Carol. That's a good way to put it. Annie says, I'm thrilled you're doing this. Grandma, there's like rabbits in Wisconsin. They're like rabbits in Wisconsin, yeah. I'm just going to leave it at that. Okay, Carol talks about a tattoo. We are going to talk about that. I have the storm coming, so I'm only going to spend a minute or two on topside, and we got to get back into it because we're going to do Mike O. So Jazzy Naz says, wow, the ma'am content this weekend has been really good. Thanks to all the truthers out there. Hi, Karen Lavery. Good to see you. Miss Hostel's here. Good to see you as well, and welcome. She says a sheriff in Missouri placed him in an area at the time of her disappearance. You can watch her case on ID. Sherry Lynn says, similarities with both of them, but leaning more like Mike. All right, let's get into this. Ready, spaghetti? Here we are. I'm kind of excited about this because for me, this gets shocking. So let's introduce Mike. Again, this is a gentleman that is Bobby Dassey's best friend. A complication online came up that Mike supposedly, allegedly told Bobby, and Bobby talked about this in the trial, that Stephen had made a joke to him about hiding the body. Right? Well, come to find out, the only time that Mike says he was on the Avery salvage yard was 11/10/05. Doesn't work. Steve was in jail, arrested for a firearm charge on 11/9. So then we look at the other information in research available, and it's the 3rd. Yet, believe it or not, Mike O states that he had found out 2 days prior to the day this joke was stated that he was doing this deer, that he found out Teresa was missing. Which would put the math, if everybody online that's working on this, hats off to you guys, did their math right. November 1st, 2005. Before she's missing. Okay? So this is pictures of Mike O. Now there's a lot more reasons. He having that relationship with Marie Avery, she quoted that he despised Stephen, hated Stephen Avery. Okay? Motive? You tell me. Does he look like this drawing? Let's look at this. So I've got those same 3 pictures. Well, I added one, but there's the drawing in the middle. Both of those are Mike O. Let's flip over. I've got these same drawings right down here. This one, and this one. Underneath the drawing. So I have these photos here underneath this drawing. So let's do the same thing. Let's transition because that's so fun anyway. So we'll start off with the drawing. Now watch as we go. The eyes fit phenomenally well. The arches in the eyebrow are appropriate. The nose lays in exact shape. And the lips fall in place. The jawline falls in place. You tell me if I'm wrong. Let's look at another one. Okay, here's the drawing of the picture below. So the drawing is on top from the police sketch of the guy that was last seen talking to Deidre Harm. Okay, that's the sketch on top. Mike Osman's picture that you see here is underneath this. We're going to transition the transparency. So we'll go from there and we're going to climb down until we get to his drawing. Look at that, you guys. The lips are just phenomenal. If he wasn't smiling, look at those lips. Look at the way that the eyes fit the eyebrows. Now, nothing has been altered in either of these pictures. Okay? Let's go over to our last one. Let's do the same thing. Just transition. Now, I just grabbed 3 random drawings. We're going to random photographs of Mike Osmundson. Look at this. Right there, really crazy. Now, he's got glasses on the one below. I don't know. You guys tell me. So, here's where I took it. And I've got Mike Osmundson on half of the photograph. That's the photograph. Then I have the in-between shot. And then I have the drawing. Now, the question is, does it look like the same guy? Is it possible that either of these match the sketch artists of the police composite? Let's get into a little bit more. We'll go up to top side real quick. We'll see what you guys think. All right. So Carol's wanting to know if they've got tattoos. Carol. We're going to definitely be talking about that. That's what's up next. So, Grandma says, I would like to see how many bonus are in Teresa's grave. Have they got bones? Oh, bones are in Teresa's grave. Have they got bones from Cuss Road? Which Bushman cremated? Excellent question, Graham. Justin L. says, don't forget to check out Millbilly and Cuss Road video. I watched it. So far, amazing. Yeah, it makes you really, really think, man. That's just crazy. Zellner confirmed November 1st, Annie Painter says. I had heard that. Thank you, Annie, very much. So this is Mike O. that has basically confessed that he knows of Teresa Halbach missing on November 1st, the day after she's reported missing. Sherry Lynn Ponto says darker eyes also. Cindy McKean Eisler, chin in this match. Carol's thinking. Karen Livery says, remind me what these drawings are and why they are so significant. Okay, love, let's go back and we'll look at the PowerPoint. We're gonna get to the tattoo part. I'll give you a real quick update. So I went to the George Zipper blog, and this is 10 unsolved cases of missing females in Wisconsin from 2005 to present. 10 missing, 2 were found at home, 1 missing across state line. Okay? So when you look, it circles the area basically of that vicinity. And when you look at the police unidentified suspect flyer, you can see that there's an artist rendition of a male that was last seen with Deidre Harm before she was found reported missing, or last seen, and then she went missing. They do find, I believe they find her remains, yes, in the town of Seneca, Wisconsin. Okay, so now we thought about the fact, a lot of us are thinking, is there a serial killer? Well, it talks about this tattoo, right? It's a tribal on the left arm, and it's a tattoo. It shows a sleeve, then it shows the tattoo itself. Well, interesting enough, we can verify whether Bobby Dassey had that tattoo or not. So this is Deidre Harm, and this is on her flyer put out by the police. It's got the drawing. Now with Bobby Dassey, right here, he has a tribal left arm tattoo, very clearly. My question is, being their buddy, does Mike O have a matching one? Could he possibly have the matching tattoo? What do you guys think? Do either of these match? Now I'm going to scroll back up, and we're going to go over and do the transition first for Bobby. Okay. Here we go. From the drawing And now we're slipping into the photograph. And there's the photograph. Okay, let's try the next one. I'm going pretty quick now. Okay. Let's go back to the photograph. Or should we do the drawing? We'll leave it midway. And now let's check this one. This one to me just doesn't quite, nose is off and he's smiling, so it doesn't work. It's just a little off. But when we go and we look at Mike O's picture, this is just creepy to me. I feel like I should send this into that number on the police thing and go, what have we got here? Because look at the shape of that jaw, that chin, that nose, the arch of the eyebrow. Look at this. His picture. And now I've got the drawing, the sketch on top. It doesn't even interfere with the photograph. Look at that. A little bit more of the photograph. A little bit more. You can still see there's no shadows or curves of his face except for the photograph, but they fit the drawing. So let's leave it there. Now let's look at a different picture. Like I said, I just grabbed 3 random photographs here. So let's transparency these straight from photograph. Here we go. Look at those eyes, you guys. Now we're right in between. We're in between the sketch and the actual photograph. Look at that. That's creepy, creepy, creepy to me. I don't know, you guys. All right, this one's not as good, but we'll do it anyway. And then I'm going to come back up to top side. Start off with full-blown photograph, or I'm sorry, drawing on top of photograph. We're going to layer it out. The skull works, you know. Everything measures the width of the eyes, the nose. Even in this picture, even though the smile's off, because he's not smiling in the drawing. It's just creepy to me. All right, I'm coming back up to top side. I'm going to go ahead and grab this. We'll see what you guys think. Let me see if I can share some desktop so that you guys can see the chat too. Is it display capture? I can never remember, you guys. I'm not that great at this. Okay, that's display capture, right? And then PowerPoint off. There we go. Now you'll be able to see the chat when I look. Okay, so let's get back over here. So Sherilyn says dark eyes also. Cindy McKean says chin is a match. Sherry says good sketch artist. So Mike, you were busted. So Sherry thinks he's busted. Julian, good afternoon from UK. Now I'm not the one, you guys, that figured this out. This was brought to my attention long ago when we were in a chat and a bunch of the Rubber Ducky researchers were together and we were all on Discord. We were just punching out ideas all over. And BB went and she did her face transition. And we all, when she presented it, we were just like, and in shock that there was such a match between Mike O and this sketch. And so it really creeped us out. And it kind of fell to the back burner as time went on. But the more we've been talking about Mike O, the more it came into my head. And I'm like, well, I can't find where BB did that. But how hard would it be if it's real to just redo it real quick? I threw this together in the last hour. There was no big figuring it out. That's what's freaky to me. Jazzy Nez says, it's possible, but I don't hold much faith after the drawing that was done on Stephen. Totally get you, Jazzy Nez. I feel ya. Martha Dickinson says spot on in her opinion. Miss Hostel says Christopher Rivek. Not sure what that means. Carol says, good likeness, but then I think all the likenesses in the Delfani case there are. Robin Truskowski says, good morning. Good to have you. Carol says, sorry, I misinterpreted your November 1st. Thought prosecution had been given extension. Oh, Lord. I hope not. They've had plenty of time. They've got extra words to ramble on for days. So they should, they should put up or shut up. Annie Painter says, the resemblance is remarkable. Cindy McKean, Isler. Is it Isler or Isler? I'm not sure. We'll say McKean. I think if Mike O doesn't have tribal tattoo, it's Bobby. The chin is definitely Mike O. Carol, both our likeness tat on Mike would confirm. You should send it in. Maybe I should. Annie says send it in. It's creepy. You should send it in. Sherry says that. Oh my God, Sherry. Can you imagine? She says maybe we would be able to catch a real killer instead of two innocent ones. Maybe it's catching a real killer, CB Rom 100 says hi from Liverpool, England. Shelley on Twitter, good to see you. Justin L's with us. And also says Christopher Ravak. Now you got me so curious. Is that something I can Google, you guys? Is that someone to check out? I'm just reading. Okay, guys. Well, it won't be a big one today just because we do have storms coming in. But I'm just making sure I didn't miss something. Okay. Miss Hostel says a sheriff in Missouri placed himself in the area at the time of her disappearance. Yeah, I want to know more about that. I read that earlier. Okay, Miss Hostel is saying Christopher Ravek is a suspected individual in Deidre Harm case. Huh. It's really weird, though, isn't it? The resemblance. Well, guys, like I said, just wanted to share some things with you. I know that it bothers me a lot after listening to the huge discussion that's flowing on the social media about the fact that how would Mike O possibly have known that Teresa Halbach was missing November 1st unless he was involved? And he wasn't a suspect. And he wasn't even interviewed that I know of, other than a minor interview that we don't get to hear much. I think his mother was interviewed. His father was on conveniently, his father's on vacation. They can't talk to him. You know that theory I've had for a while that keeps bothering me about the internet searches and what if somebody else is in that house? What if that somebody else is with Bobby and it's Mike O? What if that's Mike O driving Bobby's truck that follows Teresa? Mike O has motive to frame Stephen because he despises Stephen. He has a jealousy streak that, I'm not saying he did it, but coincidentally, when Stephen buys Marie Avery a trailer, the trailer gets burnt down. Who did that? Who has motive to burn it down? So, I do think it's interesting that we have the 2004 car fire prior to the Halbach case. Millbilly's excellent at explaining this scenario. And everybody can be accounted for but two people. And I'm sure Millbilly's like, yes, because he's the one that pointed this out to me one time. And that's that Mike O and Bobby Dassey are the only two unaccounted for. And the car is on fire down the road. And it happens to be owned by Barb. Then later in the 2005 case, we have a burnt remains and so forth. Really makes you wonder. Hey, Trev Hen, good to see you. Carol says, but just looked at the photo of Revik, and both Bobby and Mike look more like the sketch. Yeah, Sherry Lynn brings this up. Holy crap, I hate to even talk about it because it's so hard to pinpoint when this deer happened. But she says, so the body comment was about a deer? I don't know. We know that a deer was picked up and registered. It was picked up on the 3rd, according to the reports. It was registered on the 4th by Bobby Dassey, Barb urging him to do that. But a lot of us are starting to wonder, were there duplicate deers? See, there's duplicates in this case that drive me nuts. So were there duplicate deers? But there's no getting away from the fact that Mike O has come basically out of his own mouth and stated that he knew about the Halbach girl missing 2 days before the 3rd. You know, I've always been looking for this ramping up of the internet searches becoming, you know, worse and worse and worse and worse as time goes, and I can never find it with Bobby. It's just like, boom, right on his computer. And that's why I always say, is it in favor of a guest coming over? Is it possible that if we had Mike O's computer, what would we find there? Is that where the ramp up was actually taking place prior to this? We don't have anything on Mike O that will allow us to even know that. And face it, how many times do people got to say, well, there were 2 people that saw Teresa last, Bobby Dassey and Stephen Halbach. And guess what? I still say, because Bobby is driving a green Ford Ranger within an hour, seen by Blaine Dassey on the school bus, that it's possible Bobby wasn't driving his truck that left that day. And remember the call that came into that Dassey house at 11:47 a.m. It was something along the lines of, you know, this is Teresa. I need to get the picture. I can't do the appointment without knowing your address. You know, I'm paraphrasing. And so forth and so on. This is being played in that house at 11:47. Who's in that house is the key. And were they both in that house? Did one drive away and meet the other? Did they follow Miss Halbach out left of Larrabee? Or did one follow her and the other come around the other side? Was it Bobby? He pings on Fisherville Road. You got to wonder. All right, guys, let's go over and see what you guys think. So, Annie Paintner says, about 6 months ago, I was trying to find out if Mike O had a white truck. I looked everywhere. Now I can't remember for the life of me why. Yesterday, someone posted him with a white truck. Ugh, can you imagine? Sherry Lynn Pontello says, because a white truck was spotted near a green RAV by an old man near the gravel pit. So that was Wilbur Siebert. And he said that the green Jeep and a white truck went into the gravel pit, and then only the white truck came out. Annie Paintner says the defense should have called him. Trav Hinn says, Bobby said in his interview he didn't talk to Scott because Scott did not like kids, yet Bobby is hunting at Scott's trailer. And Scott said he didn't even know the name of those kids. Didn't even know those kids' names. Couldn't even tell them apart. Yet Scott also claimed he knew Stephen for 2 years, when Stephen didn't even know who Scott was. And he points out that Bobby didn't go to Crivets 11.5, just saying. Ronald Cass, good to have you from Missouri Ozarks. T1 says, my money is on Beavis and Butthead. Fire, fire, fire. Sup, RD, everyone. MLR. I love you, T1. I have known T1 forever, and his positive attitude is amazing, and I like his spirit, so I really look forward to him coming on here. So Carol says, send it in, RD, nothing to lose, everything to gain. Nan's Life says, Rivette committed suicide, did he not? If memory serves me, been a while since I looked into this info. Well, if that's true, then we have part 2 to do, because that is horrific, and it makes me wonder if, is a serial killer being protected here? I mean, we do know that's possible in the sense that Gregory Allen was considered a serial rapist and was protected. Sherry Lynn Pontello says, Mike O's computer would look just like his best buddies. See, that's what I bet on too, Sherry. Derek Kim, good to see ya. Miss Hostel agrees with Nan's Life about looking up more info in this case. We definitely need to. And that's one reason I do these videos. I might not be right. I might be completely off on my things. But if I share it with you, it gets us looking into new avenues and looking deeper to see if we do find something. It might be that other people have been working on this for 6 months and I just got this idea today. I honestly just go by the seat of my pants. I really do. If you guys send me an email and say, hey, don't share my name, here's a line, I don't even ask you where you get the info from. If it's legitimate, something I can fact check in 3 places, I will run the story. If I feel comfortable and it resonates with my other research, I will run the story. This was brought, not by me, this was brought up by the old research gang, Zoe and BB and Dr. Silkman and everybody that worked in that group. And I'm just kind of rebreathing life into it. So, let's see here. Annie says, would love to see Mike's ID phone records. Mike O's phone records, absolutely. Annie Painter has a good theory. She says Mike O, in her theory, set up the hustle shot. Carol says a photo of Mike O's arm to see if there's a tat would be good to see. Okay, challenge to all of you no crime, no timers. No crime, no timers. Go out there and see if we can't get a full body picture of Mike O with his arm. See if we've got that tattoo somewhere. Karen Lavery says, how easy or not is it to get phone records for that time? I don't know. Definitely worth it. Maybe we can figure it out. But I do think we should turn this in. Annie Painter said, would love to see Mike. Oh, his phone records. We read that. Okay. Everybody's wanting his phone records. That's why I'm seeing it a couple times. Sherilyn Pontello says this whole missing girl thing is very troubling. What happened with Teresa is not a typical murder. Is very much like a serial killing. Yes, I agree with that. So Carol is agreeing that it looks like Rivette committed suicide. I think we should look into this because I'm telling you now, the chances of these photos aligning the way they do are so remote after doing these facial melts that we've done over the years for Teresa into all kinds of different things for the eyes, the nose, the mouth, the chin to line up without having any issues of adjustment. The width of the eyebrows, the width of the nose, the width of the jaw, the measurement from the nose to the tip of the lip, the measurement from the lip to the bottom of the jaw. The cheekbones have to align. The nostrils have to align. Actually, eyebrows actually are very important because they grow in a certain way. Yes, they can be trimmed and so forth, but eyebrows actually follow your cheekbone. I mean, your forehead bone a little bit, and you'll feel that they're risen there. So that's measurement of the forehead. That's a lot of factors. And the FBI does do facial recognition. That's what we hear about all the time with what we're fearful of with this tracking. That's why even though I don't think masks are helping us as much as they say, hey, if it prevents facial reckoning and all that crap at this point, I don't want to be tracked, but that's what they're doing. We're not dumb. So, It isn't typical for this many girls to go missing. And look at the historical amount of women and missing people and children in the Manitowoc area, wherever that whole circle map was. So he hung himself in jail, Miss Hostel says, in Missouri jail, not Wisconsin. Wobla says, hey Wobla, says Ryan Hilligus is a prime suspect. I have been also told that he knew Bobby Dassey before this happened. You know, as hard as I've tried, I've never been able to find anything that supports that. I'm not saying it's not true. I just can't find tangible, factual evidence that connects Bobby Dassey or Ryan Hilligus. And I beat it to death like a dead horse, as they say, or whatever. I can't find that. There was also some rumor to Brian Dassey used to hang out with Ryan Hilligus at the salvage yard. But I haven't actually been able to prove that either. Whoa, T1 just dropped a bombshell of a question. Why would KK risk a mistrial to get Mike O's statement through BOD, Bobby Dassey, versus just putting Mike on the stand? Mike Osman was avoided by prosecution. Why? Bam! Bingo! That's my point. Annie Painter says there was a handsaw on the Dassey's garage floor. Ellie didn't bother to take it. Well, and why would they? They know doggone well there's nothing on that. It's a whole setup. We know it's a staged event. There were no bones. There was no body burned in Stephen's pit. Couldn't have happened. Propane tank would have blew up. That little doghouse would have melted in. That trailer would have caught fire and burnt to the damn ground. No question. Didn't happen. Okay? So we know that didn't happen. It didn't happen that she was murdered in Stephen's trailer because we have no victim DNA. Impossible. End of story. Didn't happen. Not only that, but King Kratz himself, Who Wants Truth's been working behind the scenes very hard. And one of the things he pointed out to me is in Ken Kratz's statement himself, either opening or closing, can't remember which, he pointed out, Who Wants Truth said that we're to just, assume the key is planted. That would mean we have to assume that Stephen's DNA is planted, is his point. Is Who Wants Truth's point. And is the prosecutor asking us to accept and ignore that somebody may have planted the suspect, Stephen Avery's DNA on a key? I mean, that's Who Wants Truth's line. And what a point to make. We tried to hook up on Friday, but then the principal had to come meet with my kids. And he got busy, and we just keep playing this tag. But I wanted to get that out there for him. So let's continue on. Ms. Hostel says ID video last call is the one to review. L. Boogie says, I think it's Bobby, unfortunately, for Barbara. Wobla says, if you look at the Soham murders in the UK, you will notice something very chilling to the spine and will make you think again about Ryan and Bobby. Interesting. Well, I have something to do in my free time in the next couple days, right? I have a couple days off. Trav Hinn says, Scott T is my prime suspect. Yeah, I have to say he is a primary for me too. Kasurk being number one, Vogel being number two, for setting it up, arranging it. Hired gun? Possibly. In my opinion, Scott Tadich, yes. But second close would be Mike O because of his hatred for Stephen. The trailer being burned down to the ground for Stephen. Just some weird stuff there. I feel there's a lot of severe hatred around Stephen by Mike O. Let's see. Carol says hats influence eyebrows. T1 says, one question. Did GK the pencil, he means Jean Couché, sketch these drawings. So what T1's referring to is Jean Cachet in 1985 claimed to have drawn the mugshot type picture that he framed literally and hung in his office of Stephen Avery that Penny Bernstein used, or she didn't use, she supposedly gave her view and Jean drew it. But when you take that drawing Jean Cachet did, that's why it's called Pencil Cachet, when you take that drawing and you lay it over the mugshot actual photograph of Stephen Avery, it lines up perfectly. And everybody's like, well, the problem would be, it wouldn't be what Penny, the eyewitness, had said what he looked like. It would have been what Jean Cachet, the pencil, used was an actual sketch of a photograph, which is unfathomable. Annie Painter says, I think we are on to something big. Shane Carlos, you made it. Awesome. You rock, dude. Hey, Polyester. Every time I say your name, I just die laughing because I just love it. Good to see you. Annie says, why would Mike O lie about the everything? Yeah. Oh, yeah. So he knew about Teresa Halbach's murder November 1st. And he matches this drawing. And since 2005, let's go back over and take a gander at that. And then I think we're going to give it a wrap for the day here. Let me scroll back up because I want you to look at these poor women. These women are unsolved cases of missing females from Wisconsin from 2005 to present day. And this was put out in 2018. Now, all of these women go missing in this location. So you see how it circles around this area right here? Bullseye kind of deal, right? I got this information, and a good shout out to George Zipper Blog Info. Highest respects paid to you. And then you look at this unidentified suspect and that drawing. You guys tell me. Are we looking at Mike O? When you look at these composites, let's do one more before we end the thing. What we're doing, you guys, is we're taking the drawing. We've laid it over the pictures. So this is the photograph down here. Okay. We've laid the drawing, the police sketch here, the artist rendition over that drawing. Now I want you to really look as we... Oh, you can't because I'm on the wrong drawing. You know what? We're going to move it so that you get a better view of it. All right. So let's move it down. Okay. Now we got the ball rolling. You'll be able to see a lot better on this one. Transition. No. Transparency. Yes. Okay. We're going to go from the photograph into his picture. Notice right there. I'm going to pause it there. The shape of the face is there. The lips align. The nose aligns. That puffy upper area between the nose and the lip aligns. The ears match up. The nose matches up. The eyes are the exact almond type shape. Those eyebrows match, including the fact that one eyebrow actually arches up higher. So does the drawing. And we're back down. Now let's go to this one. This one just bothers me. It's really creepy to look at this for me. Look at the sides of the head coming in. Look at the shadows falling into place. I'm in between the drawing and the photo right now. Is that not peculiar? All right, let's go over. We'll do the last one. Well, transparency between. So there's a full drawing, sketch. We're going into that picture. And you can't say, well, he wore glasses all the time, because right here he's not wearing glasses. And right there, you have half the picture, half the drawing, and in between. I don't know, you guys. All right. Before we wrap up, let's go ahead and just let everybody have a few last words. Annie says, I'll say it again, look at the computer searches, RAV search 74 times. Damn. Ezekiel 33:6 says, late to the party, Ducky, were you able to listen to the last chat Millbilly put up? It was more info on audio of body found call. Yes, I was. I enjoyed it very, very much. And I highly recommend. I don't want to be a spoiler here, so head over to Millbilly's channel and give a listen to that. Trav Hinn says, I heard Scott T came into a chunk of money after the crime. Possibly hired gun, like you said, Ducky. Yeah. Ezekiel says, Scott T got nice new home. Shane Carlos says maybe their bones were used that were given to the hall box. Annie Paintner says, Ellie hired these one guys to do the deed. That's why ST was able to purchase that house. Sherry Lynn says, yeah, Scott got paid to lie. Wabla says, Shane, that was a very good point. Carol says, definitely send it in. Would be interesting if there were any composite sketches for suspects for all the other missing women. See if there was any other people that look that similar. Quick glance, he looks like Eric Cozy. Shane. No, Eric Cozy. Hey, by mentioning Eric Cozy, I want to say early shout out to him for Wednesday will be his birthday, I believe. May 27th, as it is mine as well. So early happy birthday to you, Eric Cozy. I hope it's absolutely the best. And I hope both our birthday wishes are granted and these guys get to come home. As we do know, they're 100% innocent. Crystal Terry, good to see you, says very interesting with the superimposed sketch. Sherry Lynn says, I think this now makes Mike a Denny suspect. And he says, this is crazy. The sketch is remarkable. Everybody says, wow, and we. Raised by Gypsies is here. Good to see you. 2 more, and then we're going to hit the books here. And I got to go get some groceries. I think all I have left in my house, the kids said, was like gravy, marshmallows, and a bag of Jell-O. So I think it's time Mom goes go. We have teenagers. I leave them money for groceries, but we're out. So I'm going to go get some groceries here. So Annie says, this has been sent to Zellner. Thank you, Annie. I will look into the Soham murders and especially Ian Huntley's initial press interviews. Karen Lavery, thank you for sharing. Maybe these are the two Zellner referenced, Annie said. Wabla says, excellent investigating, Ducky. Thanks for another interesting stream. God bless with that, you guys. Much love to everybody. And please be well.